Holy cow, we got a new design post from AQWorld Infinity. I am really looking forward to checking this out. Now, I'm not going to be reading everything here because it might get a little bit too technical or just, something might not be super interesting for you, but I will read what I think you'll be interested in. AQWorld Infinity Progress Update, we're talking about combat math. I wish they had taught combat math in school. Here's an image showcasing some of the different things. If you've got an aura, if you've got the constant, if you have the math, if you've got the stop aura, if you've got the sound effects, wow, complicated. But first, I'm home. He had done a backwards quest game that had won an award. Tech demo plan. Returning home, I checked in with the AQWorld Infinity team. There was 2 game-breaking issues holding back the next test. This really bummed me out because the goal was to have it running when the plane wheels hit the runway. The first one is related to the major combat and class changes we made last week. The second issue is cutscene related. Both of these issues need to be fixed before we can start this extremely important tech demo. I'll give you an ETA soon as the start date. The next tech demo will be on Steam. Warlick has just finished the new cloud builder and Zoom is helping him set it up. This will allow us to start doing Android builds of the game again. The plattered hard drives have become a bottleneck, so we're getting some of those solid-state drives and adding more memory. Infinity files are much smaller than AQ3Ds, but has so many more files. Warlick said there was over 974,000 individual files in the repositories, 76,000 folders. There's 90,000 files just in the AQWorld items. Triggering a fresh cloud build of all those weapons, armors, monsters, and items is a hard drive churning apocalypse. The Skill Forge. You can see some of the stuff. You've got the Warrior, Infinity, Earth, Elemental, Fire, Ice, Evil, Elemental, and then the Mage, Warrior, and Default class. You may remember me talking about the Skill Forge. This is a tool Spider created that allows the creation of new skills and classes. Both players and monsters can use skills created in the Skill Forge. Immortal Joe used it to create a version of the Warrior, Mage, Rogue, and Healer starter classes that play similar to the AQWorld versions. Then he created the Infinity versions of these classes. These updated versions have area of attack style skills. Yes, that's right. All 4 starter classes use animation timing and animation canceling instead of global cooldowns and have some fresher mechanics that make each class more interesting to play, but also not diverting too far from the original versions. Both the AQWorld-like and Infinity versions of each starter class will be available for testing in the next tech demo. Yes! Based on your feedback, we will determine the direction we want to take the classes and combat in. Skill creation. So there's the image Fireball. New. Skill 2 with the Fireball. Icons, Fireball. And then the description of it. You've got the Ice Shard, Explosion, Arcane Shield. You can add another skill, Magic Missile. Wow, that is really neat. In RPG games, your game is a collection of skills. In the example above, you can see that the Mage Infinity has Magic Missile, Fireball, Ice Shard, Explosion, and Arcane Shield. Each skill has a name, icon, description, and each slot in your bar it is assigned to. Fireball Battle Math. A skill can do anything now. So there's a category. You get the node names of the categories with this. This is just a Fireball, and then this is that image that it shows doing all these different, man, look at that complicated math. The actual skill is the collection of tiny actions and decisions, which we call nodes. These can do anything from playing a sound, changing animation, to checking if you have a buff active, or inflict damage on a monster. These nodes can even look at your stats and do math. The class designer, normally Immortal Joe, strings these nodes together to create skills. The final skills are saved to the server. The server's job is to do all the actual battle math and tell all the players in the room what happened. Monster skills are also designed in the Skill Forge. It's possible to make some very creative monsters Infinity thanks to this system. Bloodroot Keep features the first monsters using skills designed in the Skill Forge. We may have to go a bit overboard, or we may have gone a bit overboard, but this is what the tests are for, right? Your feedback on these monsters and the game mechanics will determine how we build new things moving forward. So you can see some of his attacks, and then you've got these little indicators. This is exactly like what they have on AQ3D to indicate where you are safe and where you are not safe. So yeah, that is really cool. Monsters are set up just like player classes and can have multiple attacks. So I guess this is a monster. This is the Infinity Earth Elemental. I wasn't sure. I thought those were different variants of the class. So, and then you can see that he has 2 different skills assigned, Ground Pound and Stomp. And you can kind of see the layout of how it attacks and whatnot. Those poor server hamsters. Again, when you or a monster use a skill, the server does this logic and then sends you the results. So every time you press a skill, it processes all the nodes in the skill. When you are in the room full of players and monsters, it's beautifully chaotic server dance to make things flow together and not break when weird edge cases happen. Got a little shadow spirit right there. Ooh. Stats for monsters and players. Both monsters and players possess the same stats. These are the primaries: HP, MP, Strength, Intelligence, Dexterity, Luck, Wisdom, and Endurance. Sometimes skills use these stats directly, but more often they are boiled down to a set of secondary stats: attack power, spell power, critical chance, critical power, haste, dawn chance, block chance, damage, absorption, etc. Much of your damage is calculated from the stats built into your weapon, but you will almost always hit for more damage thanks to the additional stats of your armor pieces and the power of your character's level. Similar to AQWorld, each class uses different stats to calculate its skill damage. So depending on the stats of your equipped weapon, it may be more effective on certain classes than it is on others. Essentially, we're building a new enhancement system that is a lot more flexible than AQWorld's current system and will allow for a lot more build variety. Diagon has not yet finished implementing the new weapon stat panel. It'll probably not be done in time for the next tech demo, but when it goes in, it'll make weapons very easy to understand. Big stat restructure took place on the server. I can tell you with a high degree of certainty that numbers will be wacky at the start of the next tech demo. There are not currently caps on the secondary stats, and the formulas have been changing a lot. Over the past few weeks, Yomi, Spider, Zoom, and Captain Rhubarb have made some great changes on how power and stats were stored on weapons. Most of our damage will come from your weapon. Most of your defense will come from your armor. Gear progression is going to matter a lot more in Infinity, which should also make it a lot more fun. The system to upgrade your gear is not fully implemented yet, so in the upcoming tech demo, your gear should automatically level with you as you level up. Here's some attacks. You can see the monsters. Monsters can level up too. Wait, what? Alright, this is slightly clickbaity header. What this means is monsters can now be spawned at any level. Oh, and just like Dungeons and Dragons monsters, higher level monsters can unlock skills that lower level versions of themselves do not have. Oh, I see. A level 5 skeleton mage can cast Fireball, but a level 60 skeleton mage might cast Fireball, Rain of Fire, and upon death, engulf itself in flames to become a fire elemental. When a monster is spawned, and then there's just this big long blankness here, it says this is a huge feature. See, in the existing AQWorlds, every time we made a next level of a monster, we had to duplicate it in the database. Now we can spawn any monster at any level, anywhere. This will be handy for common monsters like skeletons and frogzards, which are used in different places and at different levels. This will come in extremely handy for the Tower of Leveling, which I now realize is a dungeon, not a tower. This is a zone we are building to test the experience of going from level 1 to 100 with monsters, drops, and shops. This is not intended to be a player accessible area, but who knows, maybe we'll do a leveling up test challenge there. With this feature, I can place monsters in each floor at the correct level to simulate leveling up. But how do the monsters know what HP and damage to use when they level up? Each monster can and will be different, so we created a special reference table in the database which monsters can look at as a reference to adjust their power accordingly. This works for boss monsters, mini-bosses, minions, and one-shottable trash mobs. We ran into some funny issue testing. Because monsters and players currently follow the exact same rules, monsters were no longer able to hit us once we were 20 levels higher than the monster. We started making changes to correct this, but we really need your help to hunt down other unexpected issues like this. Nearly every part of combat has been changed since the last tech demo because of the stat changes. Thank you, and looking forward to our upcoming test. Expect day one to be bug-filled wonderland. I hope you enjoyed this update post. For a post titled Combat Math, we did not have to do any actual math, counting that as a win. I have no excuses for why everything is taking so long. Really sucks that it has. The team and I are committed to completing AQWorld Infinity so that our dream of playing together at 60 frames per second together across phones, tablets, and computers becomes a reality. Gonna need at least a week for the coders to fix the problems. Please send your energy and encouragement. The crew could use the love to get to the finish line. It is really crazy the amount of work going into this game. Now, people are saying, why don't you just port the game as is? But AQWorlds has so many problems, it would not hold up on mobile in its current state. This version should definitely do the job. Are you guys looking forward to the next tech demo? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far into the video, post a secret word, math, into the comments. We'll see you guys in the next one.